Hey YouTubers, this is Frank the Bank. Welcome to World Cinema Reviews. Today we have another great movie for you. We're going to talk about a British entry called The Quiet Ones. And The Quiet Ones is especially cool for me because it's actually has been done by Hammer Studios. And if you guys know anything about Hammer, you know, in the late 50s, 60s, and 70s, it had its golden age, and I'm talking about great films that change horror, the classic monsters of the Universal years, Frankenstein and Dracula. They were portrayed in much different ways, much more gorier, much more gothic, portrayed by these actors that brought this new light into them, that were, even though the movies didn't weren't there weren't a lot of budget put into it, they took it seriously, and they did it with conviction and with lots of talent. Just to show you, just to talk about some great actors that from that era. Of course, the great late Peter Cushing. There will never be another Van Helsing as great as Peter Cushing. Also awesome as Dr. Frankenstein. The one who created the monster, and in different twists, in movies that had a lot of gore and nudity, and different takes of what a classic story was. And of course, the great Christopher Lee, that even though he had some issues reportedly, reading on, if you read about it and you see his statements about it, sometimes he wasn't entirely pleased about doing all the Dracula series, but because he is such a professional actor, and so great, he still did the films. He didn't want to have so much dialogue in it, but even his presence, just by his mannerisms and his acting ability, were enough to actually do one of the best Draculas that have ever was, besides the great Bela Lugosi. So he carried that torch incredibly well. And knowing all that, knowing how Hammer is, and knowing that I love British horror, I had a lot of expectations. And the question is, was I pleased or was I disappointed? Well, I actually was pleased. This film has a lot of great things in it. It does have its flaws, but I think the good overwhelms the bad, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. Let's talk about who's starring in it. Directed by John Pogue, starring the awesome Jared Harris. He is the son of the late Richard Harris, another awesome actor. And Jared Harris, you guys may remember here from Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows. The awesome sequel to the Sherlock Holmes movies with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law, and he plays an awesome Moriarty. I mean, an evil genius playing mind games, sort of a chess game against Sherlock Holmes, matching him wit by wit, but with his evil, thoughts, and he's just great. And in this film, he doesn't disappoint. He is the best thing in this film by far, and his acting is just, it carries the movie a lot. We have also Sam Claflin, Olivia Cook, and Erin Richards. And let's just dive in right into the plot. The movie basically, it's about this professor that he believes that there is no such thing as a supernatural. He doesn't believe in the existence of a god or the devil or any evil presence of such things. So what he believes is that there are people with mental powers, such as telekinesis. So they can move things around. They can, I don't know, read people's thoughts, move things around, actually make fire, actually generate heat just on mental thoughts. And he wants to prove that not only that's true, but that what people think is possession is the people involuntarily or due to mental illness is manipulating the elements around them to make it seem like there is a demon, and it does have a rational explanation, which is the mental powers. That on its own is actually very unique, and I hadn't really seen that very much in any other movie. So he is this kind of, he plays this kind of mad professor type of thing that he is up to prove this point, and he needs a test subject, and this girl that supposedly she's possessed, she actually volunteers to be experimented on, and he does quite want to know the truth, and he uses, really, really unethical experimentation on her, keeping her locked up, keeping her sleep deprived, with loud music and things like that, and sometimes even inflicting bodily harm and pain on her, so that she, you know, manifests this psychic abilities that she has, sort of that he believes are psychic abilities and not a demon. And then this guy, sorry, we're getting rain here, so there may be some noise. So basically, there's this guy in the class of the professor that agrees to be a cameraman, and at first, sees these things, and he's really shocked by all the results and all the things about it. But then, starts to oppose the unethical procedures that the professor is doing, and kind of starts falling in love with this girl, which they're around the same age. And this girl also, I must mention, she thinks that there's this, there's this little actual doll that she imagines is a little girl that is possessing her, that died in a fire a long time ago, and that's the one who gives her the ability to produce heat and things like that. And so basically, if this, some of the students are helping the professor, will he be right? Will, is it true, or is it a demonic possession case? I'm gonna leave it like that, because it's actually quite brilliant the way it's handled. I really like. In fact, I like the ending. I was surprised. A lot of people are not giving this movie a good rating, and I think I know why. Which we're gonna talk about the negatives here. The acting of the other actors, other than Jared Harris, is actually not that great. I will say it's either adequate or a little bit below average, or maybe they just look like that against such a talented actor. They have no chance. The girl, especially the possessed girl, there's some things that she acts and looks kind of like what, kind of standoffish, and sort of like, what a girl that's tormented would look like. But then again, she kind of shows her, youngness as well. I think she's somewhere in her, you know, late teens, early 20s, or something like that, I would say. And the cameraman, the other student that agrees to do the studies, he kind of falls in love with her and wants to protect her and wants to kind of get her away from this mad professor. So it's, I would say, even though the acting is not as good, that's take away from the movie. Another thing that a lot of people, I think they're pooping on, is the fact that there's not a lot of money in this film, and they may say that some of the effects could be a little cheesy. I actually couldn't disagree more. The effects are quite creepy. There's this, the noise, the noises that are generated by this supposed demon, and the fire generated. There's some really genuinely creepy moments. I know that there's some moments where it's kind of cheesy, but remember, Hammer has been all about that. We see some cheesy effects sometimes, but they do the best they can with them, and sometimes they kind of fit. So I'd say they fit. So I definitely don't care about what the other critics say. I'm just gonna say I liked it. I enjoyed the film. I will watch it again. Definitely, it's worth just watching by Jared Harris acting alone. Uh, Definitely very unique subject. I like where they went with it. Yeah, like I said, it's not the best with the acting with the other characters, and you may see some cheesiness. Um, Some people may even accuse it of being a found footage film because there's some 8 millimeter shot that they show from time to time. I actually don't mind it. I don't think it's found footage. It's sort of like that style, but not quite. And so I would definitely say I recommend it. Watch it with knowing that it's not the greatest film since sliced bread, but it does take quite different spin of horror, which has been the Hammer tradition. So for all of you that like Hammer, you will love this film. If you're not so into it and you're more like the mainstream horror, you may be a little bit disappointed. This critic did like it, so if you like it, tell me why. If you didn't like it, sure, tell me why as well. I want to know your experiences. And definitely subscribe if you like my rants. If you don't, thank you so much for watching. Anyways, and take care. God bless you, and peace out.